absolutely nothing.
Welcome to the Imaginarium, the show where art, technology, and creativity intersect and combine to forge a conversation that can only be found in the Imaginarium. I'm your host, Scott Colbert, and joining me as usual is the Todd father himself, Todd Staruch.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Pretty good, Todd. I had to use the Todd father because I saw that on a Facebook post of yours with that black and white photo you put up today, and it tickled me.
Yeah, somebody tagged me with that name some time ago. I guess, it was at the Macabre Fair Film Festival, and it just sort of stuck because I was sort of lording over the whole thing at that time. So I'm okay with it.
Well, it fits.
Thank you. As always, I've got the whiskey here, and I'm ready to go.
All right. We will plug your night at Cafe Z at the end of the show.
Fantastic.
So we can get people to buy some tickets.
That'd be great.
So why don't you introduce our guest today, Todd?
Okay. I am excited about our guest today. We have someone who is a singer, a dancer, a performance artist, an actress, a graphic artist, and just all around a pretty amazing person who I'm happy to have become friends with, the one and only Electro Empress, Alia Lorae. Welcome, Alia.
Hey, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, our pleasure, Alia. The Electric Empress?
Electro Empress.
Electro Empress. Okay.
I should point out that I'm actually a very poor dancer, but I am a music producer and a film producer and editor as well. So that makes up for my clumsiness.
Oh, so you're one of those people that we probably should just say, what don't you do? Because that seems to be probably a far shorter list.
Well, I have very little skills for mathematics, and let's see, I cannot fix computers. I can't build houses, so there are quite a number of things I cannot do. So,
God, you're such a slacker.
I know.
Well,
I don't know why I haven't solved all of humanity's problems yet.
And why you can't build a house is beyond me.
I can build like a little stick house.
I can do a Lego house if that counts.
Yes, I can build a Lego house, but the thing is, when I was doing that as a kid, I'd make up stories in my head for what was happening, and I'd usually end up singing about it instead. I think I built like a prison or something when I was a kid, and then the characters were all breaking out, and I made a whole song about them breaking out of prison. So it turned into a song anyway.
Oz the musical.
Exactly.
So you started singing at a very early age then, it sounds like.
My parents sent me to, it's like a preschool for musical toddlers, where they tried to teach us rudimentary violin. So there are videotapes in my parents' house of me and a whole bunch of other 3-year-olds playing like, and I like chocolate ice cream on our, like, a single note on these little violins. But I never really stuck with a musical instrument, but I have been singing since I was really making songs since I was able to talk, I guess. So yeah, I've always been doing that, and I started fiddling around with an electronic keyboard when I was around 10 or 11, and started producing songs. And I've been doing that ever since.
Alia, were your parents musically inclined, and is that where you sort of got that influence from, or did you take that on yourself?
Well, my parents are also, they're very creative people. My dad is an incredible painter. My mom is, she used to be part of a modern dance company, and now she teaches dance exercise classes. But my father is also a musician, and he actually, when he was much younger, he was part of a jazz group. And that was actually what he wanted to do with his life originally. But then, he told his parents, I want to be a musician. And his dad came into his room and he was like, you can't be a musician, son. You're going to optometry school. So he did that. And he's an optometrist, but most of the time he's a painter. And he also likes to produce tracks. We may actually do some collaborations in the future. So look out for those.
Well, how cool is that, being able to do something like that with your father?
Yeah, no, that is pretty cool. But we might do some like trancey new age sort of stuff. So we'll see what happens.
Well, it's nice that it seems that they fostered your creativity rather than stifle it and saying, no, you can't do that.
Absolutely. In fact, they actually named me Alia Lorae. Lorae is not my last name from birth, but my middle name is Lauren, and my parents gave me that name with the intent that I could drop my sort of mundane last name if I became a performer and be Alia Loren. The only thing was, when I started out trying to get my music out there, and also I was acting, there was an actress that I saw who was up and coming who was named Alicia Loren. And it occurred to me, well, what if we both, our careers take off at the same time? It's going to be really confusing. So I put a Ray at the end of it without knowing that like there would be a Lana Del Rey, and I think there are a couple other Rays out there in the music industry. But, it's my name, so.
Alia, your music is very esoteric. And I mean that in a best possible way. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
And thank God you're not yet another Taylor Swift, because I think we have enough of those. But what were some of your musical influences that sort of drove you into like the electronic genre?
I grew up listening to a lot of I really like Nine Inch Nails. I really like The Prodigy. So I'd say those are probably my biggest influences in terms of the style I do. Nowadays, I listen to a lot of kind of quirky electronic dance music producers like Bass Nectar and Diplo, and just because there's such a range of stuff you can do with electronic music. You can take like a dog barking or a baby crying and manipulate it and fit it into the music, and it just makes it very quirky and cool. And they're really, like, the thing is, in electronic music, there are all these subgenres, which I have friends who are also music producers, who just, they're very into the subgenres, and they can tell you like exactly what the BPM for I don't know, house music is, or progressive trance. I've never really been like that. I'm just sort of like, okay, this sounds good here, I'm going to do this. And so my sound has kind of ended up defying those genres, and it's kind of its own thing. But I'm not making a huge effort to fit in with any of the genres. I figure the music industry is always looking for something new. And if I don't do something just creative and wacky and new, people are going to look at it like a Taylor Swift thing. Just sort of, I've nothing against Taylor Swift. I'm not a huge fan of her music. I'm sure she's a very sweet girl. But, I like going wild with the sounds I use. So you can be really creative with it. So that's how I ended up not on my new album, which is coming out in the fall, but my last album, Power Tripper. That's how I ended up with a song that takes place. It's basically a song detailing a story that takes place in a vampire mental institution, and I am playing 8 different characters who are all criminally insane vampires. It was quite fun. It's called Welcome to the M Ward, and you can find it on Power Tripper.
Awesome.
That sounds fantastic.
Thank you. I should talk about last week, exactly a week and 2 days ago, I released the music video for Rumors, which is my newest single off of the album of the same name, which will be released, as I said, in the fall, which is also, it's a very just fun, quirky, upbeat song about how gossip gets out of hand. And the music video is very wacky and creative and tongue-in-cheek. And it has an amazing cast. And if you're listening and you are part of the cast, I love you very much. You're the best people in the world. So yeah, no, check it out. You can find it on my website, www.alialorae.com. It's right there on the first page, the link to the video, and you can link to the song is on iTunes, Amazon, all those digital distribution sites. So yeah, that's what I'm up to now. Right now, I'm on a mad promotion spree.
Well, we'll definitely put a link to the music video on the show page when the show goes up on Monday.
Beautiful.
So everybody can check it out. That was actually the first thing of yours that I was introduced to when Todd said, "Hey, do you want to have Leon, she's a friend of mine, she's a singer, yada, yada, yada." I said, sure. So he gave me your website, and I checked out the video, and then, of course, I had to check out the music because you've got some stuff up on SoundCloud, too.
Yes.
And it's fantastic. And it's funny because it's not necessarily the kind of music that I would listen to or I would pick out. Being exposed to it this way, it is a lot of fun. And I think that's something that's missing from a lot of art today is fun. Mm-hmm. Everything seems to be so serious, but you just seem to have, like Cyndi Lauper says, girls just want to have fun.
Yeah, well, that's sort of, if you look in my bio on my website, that's kind of my whole philosophy. And I mean, a lot of my stuff, I've been called goth a lot, which I don't really consider. I like the goth aesthetic, but I don't really consider my music to be gothic. I have there's a lot of personal, dark, twisted stuff that you can find in some of my songs, but my thing is darkness and theatricality, but never without a sense of humor. I think if you can't laugh at yourself, what can you do? So, I don't know.
Oh, I laugh at myself on a regular basis.
Yes.
And so does everybody else. So you're not alone in that.
I certainly hope so.
It's no fun to be around somebody who takes themselves too seriously.
Scott, I have seen, if you like the music, I've seen Alia perform a couple of times, and it's really cool. And I freely admit that, it's not necessarily the type of thing that I would have picked out either. But then the first time I saw you, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And it's something so different that I just became a fan, because I'll listen to anything, I'll give anything a shot, and I'll either like it or I won't, and then I'm like, and I like quirkiness and and people who are a little different. I think that's why all of us in our sort of little macabre community all fit in and get along, is because we're all a little bit off.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard. I find it harder to relate to people who aren't a little bit off. But no, I'm the same way. I listen to so many different types of music, like on my iPod, and right next to each other there's like a really hardcore cursing rap song next to a show tune next to like something from the 80s. So it's, there's a lot of variation, and I think that's good in terms of being inspired as an artist, just listening to a lot of different genres of material.
Do that too. I mean, I mainly write horror, but I I
Mhm.
certainly read everything else under the sun because
Yeah.
it gives you a very good foundation for the stuff that you do want to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely it does. But no, definitely, yeah, I mean the music video this is the first really big video project that basically I put together. This is through my company, Electro Empress Entertainment. So I produced the entire thing. I put the whole thing together. My boyfriend, the brilliant Max Moyer, actually wrote and directed the storyboard. So we're starting to get offers from other artists we know to do their music videos. So that's pretty awesome. But just pimping the shit out of it, since I can say that here.
Yes.
Excellent.
Hey, listen, we're all about the self-promotion. There's no doubt
Yes.
about that.
And you'll find no bigger whore of their work than me.
I
Okay.
can attest to that.
Yes,
Very good.
I will pimp the shit out of anything that I've got going on currently.
You have to. You can't be too humble about it.
Particularly in today's market, whether it's writing, films, or music,
Mhm.
there's just so much out there because it's so easy for everybody to do something and get it up online that you
Oh, yeah.
really have to beat your own drum and
Mhm.
try and do it in a way that catches people's attention.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that I definitely do, since I'm kind of I'm one of those people that's entirely, I think it's the right. Well, no, that's a myth that the right brain and the left brain are like split and responsible for different things. I always say that my right brain ate my left brain after high school, so that's why I do all the creative stuff, but have no common sense or ability to do mathematics. But it's also good to just, build a whole, I want to build a whole empire. I also have, let's see, I also draw. I have a line of greeting cards that you can also find on my website with my original illustrations. I act. I was, if you want to see me bleeding and naked, check out The Turnpike Killer, which
And my
is a
basement.
really cool slasher movie, which definitely check it out.
Well, and we had the guys from them
Yeah.
on just a couple of weeks
Yeah,
ago.
awesome. Yeah, that movie's getting a lot of distribution, a lot of good reviews, so that's awesome.
Well, and I think I found the title for this week's show,
Mhm.
Bloody and Naked.
Okay.
If that doesn't get any hits, I don't know what will.
I know that just grabs people's attention. That's how most of the people in my head are anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Note to self.
Just sharing
So,
that little
when you
snippet.
start to make an album, what's your process? Do you come up with the songs, or do you have all the songs first and then you pick from them, or do you just kind of make it up as you go along? How does that work out for you?
It depends. There are two songs off the new album that's going to be released, the album Rumors, that will be released this fall, that I actually wrote them years ago, like the lyrics and the melodies, and I put the instrumentation under them later. But the other songs on the album, I actually produced the tracks first, and then you sort of start humming a melody and it fills in half with real words, half with nonsense words, and then eventually you figure out what the actual lyrics will be. But I always, if the song's not written in my head yet, I always start with a drum beat, something just. I try to create music that will make you think and dance at the same time. So I try to do a beat that's like very driven and dancey, which you'll definitely see in Rumors, and then just layer other sounds and harmonies on top of it. I never actually had any music theory training, so it's all pretty much by ear. and what sounds good to me. So there's very little technique behind it. It's really just figuring out what sounds good to me and hoping it sounds good to everyone else too.
You never went to school to study music then?
Well, I actually, not to study as, maybe I said that wrong. I did go to school for, I did study electronic music production, as well as film editing, graphic design, animation. I actually have this quirky little animation with a Marilyn Manson cover up on my YouTube channel. If you want to check out something that looks like an acid trip. So I did study how to use the programs. I work mostly in Logic Pro, so I learned how to use that program. So that was definitely an education that was necessary. But I never really learned much about. Like my dad has tried to teach me about it before, like how to properly harmonize or just which chords sound the best together. And I like the things you learn. I don't know how to read music either, which is actually pretty common nowadays with music producers. But so I mean, those are things that part of me wants to learn because I know it will make me a better artist, but part of me just kind of wants to go crazy with the sounds and put them together and figure out what works that way.
It's funny. We talked about this a little bit on some other shows with other people about, filmmakers going or not going to film school.
Yeah.
And it's funny you bring up, that a lot of people can't read music and play by ear. Most of my friends who are musicians can't read music and do everything by ear.
Yeah.
And I always, and I've had a lot of people say, oh, well, I went to music school and I dropped out because I didn't want to be forced into so much structure or, and it almost ruined them to be, because they're just not cut out to be so rigid,
Yeah. And really the key to making good music, whether it's with a violin or a digital program, is to play with it. You just have to put in time just spending hours playing with it and figuring out what you can do with the instrument or the program. I think that's more important than sitting in a classroom and learning the structures, is just experimenting with your instruments.
And it really comes down to, I think, you either have the talent or you don't. Because I don't think that that's something that can be taught. And that this is something that my friend Wade and I, who's a co-host on my other podcast, Jailbait, have talked about a lot. He's an actor and filmmaker, and he has absolutely no time for anybody who goes to acting school or film school. He says you either can do it or you can't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, to a degree. That's definitely the case. I think you just, I don't know. For me personally, I tend to, I don't develop a passion for something I know I'm not good at in the first place.
You won't be adding accounting to your resume then?
Oh, God. I am absolutely terrible with money. I'm.
Can I borrow $100?
You think I have $100 to give you? I would. That would be nice.
See, but that's the good thing about being an artist is we're perennially poor, so we don't have to worry about adding up numbers and watching our money because we don't have it to count.
That's true. As long, it's sort of like, okay, the end of the month is here. Do I have rent? Okay. Here's rent. We'll be eating ramen for a while. So I don't know. I mean, my goal is obviously like most other artists. I want my stuff to be out there. I want it to be appreciated and recognized. Like that's part of I mean, there are definitely artistic endeavors I do purely for myself, but I want my stuff out there. I want people to know my music. Everyone wants their endeavors that they spend weeks or months or even years, some people decades. If you're writing a book or something, everyone wants it to be recognized and appreciated. So, and part of being recognized and appreciated, I think, is often being able to make a living, or somewhat of a living off your work. So I definitely want that in the future. I don't need a gold-plated sex robot, but
It'd be nice to have one.
I don't need one either, but I want one.
Yeah.
It'd be like Woody Allen's Orgasmatron in Sleepers.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, but I'd rather have one that it has to look like some kind of mythical creature. It has to like blow bubbles out of its face. I don't know. It has to be something really wild. I'll invent it, but that's in my future when I become a mad scientist.
You have a very odd mind, Alia.
Yeah, I know that, but
and
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. You haven't even seen me fall into a terrible rendition of a different accent yet, and you say I have an interesting mind. That's an awful English accent. I do apologize to any British listeners. Okay, done with that. I was actually in a pilot episode for a show called Brood. And I'm not sure if they're going to continue the project or not. I know that the filmmaker has a bunch of other projects going on, but I was playing a banshee, and she has a line about being Irish, so I was doing an Irish accent for the role. And then I ran into I was hanging out with the director and some of his friends, and one of them happened to be an Irish guy. So I asked him, I was like, how, was my accent completely horrible? And he was like, yeah. About if I like for any acting roles I have where I have to do an accent, I have to study it because I don't want to be that person with the horrible accent on camera.
Kevin Costner in Robin Hood, anyone?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, well, if you do, you're in for a treat as far as accents are concerned.
Okay.
You can watch that as an example of how not to do an English accent.
All right. That's always good to know.
I attempted an English accent with Wade, who was English, and he almost didn't talk to me again after that. It was so bad.
I'm developing. I've lived in Manhattan for the last, I guess, 7 years. I'm from a small town in more upstate New York, but I noticed myself developing a New York accent despite myself, and I'm thinking to myself, that is so not exciting. It's not one of those accents that you hear and it's attractive. So that's another reason I try to go into other accents every once in a while. But
I understand that. When we moved to Arizona and I was 16, because I grew up on Long Island, and of course Long Island has a very specific accent all its own. And I really got tired of people asking me, say quarter, say coffee. And I would look at them and I'd say, can you say fuck you?
Well, that's a good response.
Well, and it's a New York response too. So I was
exactly.
So I tried desperately to lose my accent, and because I just, I got tired of hearing that all of the time. My mother was born and raised in Brooklyn, and she still sounds like she lives there, and she's 74, and we haven't. She hasn't lived there in 50 years.
Yeah. I'm not even sure what accent it is that. Well, my dad's from Queens, and he says like that instead of that. So I'm not sure what that is, but
Look, neither of you are going to garner my sympathy. I am from New Jersey, and I always said that the next person who says, "Oh, you're from Jersey," is going to get throat punched because none of us say that ever.
just
So,
punched. You don't have any harpoons?
yeah, no.
Aw.
But yeah, no, I'm not from Jersey. Okay, so we can please put that to rest.
Very good.
Yeah. Alia, I want to go back to the Turnpike Killer just for a second because you brought it up, but I had been, itching to ask you about that. So,
Yes.
you know, Brian and Evan are good friends of mine, and I love that film.
Yeah.
You're treated pretty brutally in it, and
yes.
to say the least.
Mhm.
So when Brian and Evan told you what the scene was and what was going to happen, what went through your mind? Were you immediately stoked, or did you at first say, "Wait, what did you just say?" Just tell me a little bit about that.
I was. It was quite a number of years ago, so I don't remember exactly, but I was pretty excited about it because it was something completely new, and I wanted to take risks as an actress and just I liked sort of just my favorite thing in acting has always been just losing myself emotionally in other characters in a situation I've never actually experienced, and it's really exhausting. Like especially with a scene like that, it's emotionally exhausting, but somehow very fulfilling to do. So I seem to remember I was pretty excited about it. The most difficult part is playing dead because after I was killed, I was lying on the floor for quite a long time, um, and they poured actual pig guts on me. Like that wasn't those weren't fake organs. They actually went to a butcher shop and they got a big crate of pig intestines. So I was lying in actual entrails, and I had to be perfectly still. And I couldn't. It was just swirling through my mind that I must be getting so many parasites right now, and I was looking forward to taking a shower. But the actual up till that point, it's kind of thrilling in a way. Even though I had to hold all these images in my mind, and the images I held in my mind to become upset that way, they weren't like, what if I were actually in this situation and how would I respond? They were, what if I were in this situation and this happened to me, how would my loved ones respond? And I was thinking about how their responses would be, and that's what made me upset and made me cry and get into character. And I think there's a line in there that I actually improvised, which was like, "Please don't hurt me. I have a family who loves me." So I don't know. I think like that helped me get in that place. So. Yeah. It was a really cool experience. I also what's really, I don't have a working copy of the movie. They gave me one of the very early cuts of it, and there's something wrong with the DVD itself. So it keeps skipping from like one section to 30 minutes later, so I can't actually watch the movie to sort of reassess what we did. But
Those bastards.
yeah, they also have my trophy.
What?
At the first Macabre Fair film festival I performed at, I actually won a Best Actress award for that role, and but I wasn't there for it because I had to. I forget why exactly, but I had to leave early. So I wasn't actually there for the awards ceremony. So Brian and Evan have the award I won, and they said they would send it to me. But they still have it. So
Those sneaky sons of bitches. I'm gonna have to get on them about that.
Yeah. Brian and Evan, get her statue.
Yeah, really.
And a working copy of the DVD. Jesus Christ.
God.
well, it's
You have people on the show, you treat them like guests, and then you find out they pull some shit like that.
well, I mean, it would be nice to have those things. I'm not gonna especially so I can just use it for an acting reel. I've never I'm not planning on showing my parents and my boyfriend have never seen it, and I don't think they want to.
Yeah, probably not.
So I actually told my parents I was in a movie and I got an award for it and it's getting good reception, but please don't see it because it will probably upset you.
It's such a heartwarming family film, though.
It is, and both my mom and my boyfriend are the kind of people that if we're watching a movie and they see like a needle going in someone's arm, they're like, oh God, no, why did they have to show that? And I'm just like, yeah, stick it in. Yeah. Why didn't they show the blood? Come on, show more blood. So I'm one of those people.
Right now, Scott is saying this is the last time Todd recommends a guest to be on the show.
You know what, Todd? I love your guests. I absolutely love your guests.
Well, I consider myself, and I say this with all sincerity, I consider myself very fortunate to have encountered some really cool people in my life. Like Alia and Evan and Brian. I'm just constantly exposed to such creative people, and types of movies and music and stuff that I never knew about before. So I'm very grateful for that. Yeah, no, I've met so many cool people too, and you're a cool person as well. I follow all your rants and raves. Yeah, I do get on about things sometimes. Yeah, but sometimes it reminds me of college. The few times that I do actually participate in those conversations, it's like in college we sat around in a circle and we discussed issues and there were debates and interesting relevant topics were brought up, and as an adult that just doesn't seem to happen in everyday life, and anyone who does try to bring up those topics is usually just trying to instigate trouble. So it's nice to actually, engage in intelligent conversation about worldly issues. Oh, I am just trying to stir up trouble. Let's not. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I've been called. What did somebody call me? An agent provocateur. So I've gotten that before.
I would wear that as a badge of honor.
Yeah. I was kind of flattered. Huh.
But it really is almost like family.
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed Jack Thomas Smith in January, and then he mentioned me to Jeremiah Kipp. And then Jeremiah introduced me to about 3 million other people right after that. So, I've been exposed to some of the most talented indie people that I can imagine, and it's been such a thrill for me because just the creativity and the passion that people have for their work. It's exactly why I started this show, was so people could talk about their passions and their creativity and their arts, because I don't think there's enough out there that talks about it.
No, absolutely. It's good to just because it's actually something I was reading yesterday. People seem to be under the impression that talent and creativity is a rare gem, but it's not really. It's just that it's rare that it gets recognized. There are tons of people, and each one has this whole creative universe going on, and it's brilliant. And if it was exposed to the right people who could show everyone, they would be hailed as brilliant. But there are so many people with amazing things going on, and it's the good side of humanity.
I agree.
I agree too. I just ran into somebody last week who's a filmmaker and who's very young. I think he just started college, so I think he's 21, 22, something like that. And he's got about 11 short films, and they're really they're amazingly well done. And he's actually, just so you know, Todd, he's going to be on the show in mid-July.
Cool.
Awesome.
And I'll send you a link to his stuff. But it impressed me so much, and he's somebody that I never would have run into if I hadn't been doing this show.
Yeah, exactly.
So those little bits of synchronicity, I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. Agreed.
No. Go ahead, Todd.
A former boss of mine was a musician before he got into IT, and when we became IT nerds. But he was very fond of saying, right now out there somewhere is the next Pavarotti, who is too nervous to get up on stage and sing in front of people. So, Alia, you made a good point. There is talent out there that, might just be overlooked, or they just haven't found the right moment yet.
Exactly. Or, maybe he's not afraid to get up on stage. Maybe he's just on the wrong stage. And
True.
That's a very
it's
good
just
point.
like the right person is not in the audience to see them and expose them, because so many times that's how it happens. It's like, part of me is I'm promoting my video so much, and I promote every day. I find new venues, but all it takes is one person who's in the public eye with a massive following to retweet it, and then suddenly everyone will know it. So that's sometimes how it works.
No.
Go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask, being a music producer and doing everything that you do, and being a woman, do you sometimes not taking it seriously at your job as if you were a man?
Well, it's definitely it's definitely more of a men's market on the production side of music. I'm part of an online Facebook community called EDM Bedroom Producers, meaning you produce out of your bedroom or your apartment, pretty much. And yeah, I think I'm like maybe one of 3 women there. So but the thing is, I think often, women are encouraged more to be almost in front of a camera, or just to be the voice or the character on stage, because so much is focused on looks in terms of being female. With a guy, it isn't so much like that. Another thing is, for a woman, there's kind of considered to be an expiration date if you're especially in the music industry. If it's like if you're in your 40s, there's not nearly as much chance that your stuff will be considered next to somebody who's 18. I'm neither 18 nor 40. I'm somewhere. I guess I'm closer to 18, but I'm not going to say what age I am. But, because I'm not.
I assure you, you're the youngest person on his phone call. That's for sure.
But no, it's like I don't think about it all that much. I just sort of do what I do, but that's also something about me. It's like I don't really think of myself as female unless somebody reminds me I am. Which, it's, I don't really like, it's sometimes I'm actually like surprised when people are like, oh, she's a girl. I'm like, I am? Oh, okay, yeah, I guess I am. So,
I'm looking at some of your pictures right now, and you are, just in case
no, I know
there
that,
was
and I
any
flaunt it.
ambiguity.
Yeah,
But,
I don't think she'll be confused for Caitlyn Jenner.
Probably not.
Caitlyn Jenner had a, well, she had all the money in the world to make a very graceful transition, which is untrue of many trans women. So good for her.
And did a fantastic cover shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, she looked gorgeous. I mean, and
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of Photoshop
There's
and
also
airbrushing
Photoshop.
that goes on with that,
Yeah.
but even still.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's nice that more variation in the human sexuality and gender spectrum are being recognized. I think that because human brain is so complicated, and there are so many little natural quirks and variations, and why not embrace it?
I understand that to an extent. By and large, most of the people that I know, most of my friends are straight, and and me being gay, sometimes I forget that because it never really becomes an issue.
Yeah.
It's we're just people who are working together or doing whatever. And I think really I wish the world looked at things that way a lot more than they do. It would be a far more happier place.
Exactly. There's room for everybody, and that's the point of life is just try to be creative rather than destructive and make the world more interesting.
Hey, listen, destroying shit is kind of cool sometimes,
Well,
though.
it is. Yeah. I have to admit, I mean, I definitely I have a lot of destruction in my mind, but I channel it into art. So.
I
Okay.
actually wanted to talk to you about your art as far as your drawing goes. I was looking at some of that earlier today. You're a phenomenal artist.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, I really, really like your work.
Thank you.
It has a little bit of a Tim Burton feel to it.
Yes, I get that a lot. That's what my mom thinks I should be doing. She always says, "Why don't you become an illustrator?" And I have to remind her that that's just as hard. That it's just as difficult to become successful as a visual artist as a music artist. And it's it's not like it's somehow going to be easier, but also, it does have to do with that whole, like the idea of the expiration date. I feel it's my musical persona and my acting persona and everything where I'm, on stage and seen and sort of like performing. It's better to do while I'm younger, and I'm still going to be just as good, most likely better as an artist when I'm a little older. The same for my writing. I also write. When I was 16, I started writing a dark fantasy novel about steampunk vampires. This was before I knew what steampunk was, though. I just kind of saw the aesthetic and thought it was cool and made a universe kind of with that aesthetic. And it's so complex. They're doing experiments on each other. There's like a whole uprising with the humans, but it's so one day I'll write that too and I'll illustrate it, but unless I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I feel like I have time for that, whereas getting the music and doing acting and performing is sort of a more urgent thing.
Well, and you don't want to be in your 60s and 70s and being out on stage either. I mean, I love the Rolling Stones, but I don't want to see their decrepit bodies on stage at this point.
Yeah, and I'm not going to want to be traveling everywhere because as a musician, you have to travel a lot, um, which is something I'm already dreading, even now, as a young person, having to not necessarily go on the road in a bus, but if it comes to like airplanes, I hate being on airplanes. I have anxiety dreams about airplanes all the time. So I'm just gonna have to you know, have some Klonopin or something in order to do that. But
Will you be touring when the new album comes out?
pardon?
Will you be touring when the new album comes out?
I'll try to be. I'm gonna try to set up as much as I possibly can. I'll definitely be performing. I haven't been performing within the last year all that. Like, I think I did maybe one show all year because I've been so busy putting together the album and the video. So but now that that's finished, yeah, I definitely need to start setting up shows again. So yeah, look out for them.
I'll be there.
Awesome.
Any last questions, Todd?
I always try to come up with a really good one. So, Alia, if there was one lifetime goal that you would like to achieve before it's time to punch out, what would it be?
I just want to bring as many people as I can into my dark, wacky, twisted universe. Which is a whole empire of music and characters, and I want the characters from my vampire stories to interact with the music, which they have done a little bit so far, but I want people to know my character. I want people to know my characters' names. Somehow that's just I imagine what it must feel like to be J.K. Rowling or somebody and walk along and hear someone talking about characters that you made up and how awesome that would be. So I want people to know my characters. I want, I have so many ridiculously large dreams, and I'm gonna make as many of them as possible come true.
As I said, we're going to have your video link to the video up on the website, as well as your website itself. And everybody should really check out the website and check out her music on SoundCloud, and of course the video, obviously. And I'd love to have you back on when the album comes out in a few months.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll
That
let
would be great.
you follow me we follow each other on Facebook, so you'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and Todd, you've got something coming up in a couple of weeks, don't you?
I do. My next Grindhouse Nights at Cafe Z indie horror film screening event is coming up on Saturday, July 25th at Cafe Z in Union, New Jersey. We have a great lineup of indie horror, with a bunch of cast and crew members in attendance. We have some great performers, some awesome vendors. As always, the Grindhouse girls will be there. So I hope everyone can make it. Come on out and support indie horror.
Woo.
And you can get tickets online.
Yes, go to my website, horrornerd.net. The information is right there, or you can find the Grindhouse Nights at Cafe Z page on Facebook. I am not hard to find. I'm a social media whore, as everyone knows.
Yes. And if somebody does have a hard time finding Todd, then they just need to sell their computer, because they have absolutely no reason to have it. And I will plug something that's coming up. Wade and I are talking about bringing him over to the States to do a little tour for his movie Twink. And the idea is to go to some GLBT community centers or bars or gay-friendly movie theaters, show his movie Twink. And this is the one that he was nominated as the Best Actor for a Gaby Award. And have a Q&A afterwards. That's in preparation for actually doing a live stage version of Twink, which we would do sometime next year. So if you're interested in that, let us know in the comments what cities you want to see him in, and we're going to be putting together a roster of cities that we're going to go to, hopefully, and we're going to start off in Phoenix. And let us know where you want to see him.
That sounds awesome.
I'm really excited about it. Unfortunately, I'm the one that gets to do all the grunt work. That's why I was asking you about tickets the other day.
Ah, okay.
So, with all of that out of the way, and I told you, Leah, we do pimp and whore mercilessly here.
It's a good thing.
It is. And
Yeah.
Drew, it's been a pleasure having you on. And I apologize if it seems like I'm stepping on people when they're talking. It seems like I have a little bit of a delay in my in Skype for me.
I haven't noticed it.
No, you're just rude, Scott.
Well, yeah, there always is that. Okay, and that ends another episode of the Imaginarium. Let's see. Oh, I lost my place in my script. If you enjoy the show, check out our other podcasts on the Supernauts Network at thesupernauts.com, including Jailbait, my newest venture with the one and only Wade Radford. And until next time, may all your journeys be filled with pure imagination.
Absolutely nothing.